So again, how AI is changing the job seekers game. So that's people seeking jobs. It's just that simple. And we're going to get into that in a second or two. Teachers in schools, they're going to be bringing AI into the classrooms. There's going to be this ingestion or this deployment within the infrastructure of educational systems. It has to be. There's no choice. And it is chatter and rumor you're hearing from teachers and school systems about AI is not going to be tolerated. We will not be using AI, different things like that. First of all, they're lying. Let's start there. They're lying. The second thing is, like Benny Siegel said in State Property, man, get down or lay down. And that's all it is with AI, especially in the classrooms. It's coming. It's coming. Make no mistake about it. In fact, if you've been paying attention to any of the news lately, there's been some talk, and there's actually been a partnership between the national or the federal or the national something teachers union or whatever, and they've actually partnered with Anthropic, Microsoft, and OpenAI. Those are three different companies. Anthropic is Dario Amodei. I think that's the co-founder and CEO's name. Of course, Microsoft is led by the Indian guy, Satya Nadella. Okay? And then we had OpenAI that we commonly know as ChatGPT, and that, of course, is Sam Altman. All right? And let me play this little news clip right here and just be a little noteworthy about this.
Microsoft, OpenAI, and Anthropic, they're all teaming up with the American Federation of Teachers to offer free AI training to AFT members. The $23 million initiative is going to focus on AI tools for K-12 educators. Joining us right now is Randy Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers. Good morning to you. AI, of course.
Good morning.
All sorts of controversy about how teachers should use it, how students should use it. Tell us about at least how this program is going to be implemented.
Right. So thank you for having me on. And, you know, I'm a big skeptic, and I think you need to be a big skeptic to engage in this work. The problem is that nobody in government is really helping teachers, or frankly, any other public employees, in trying to figure out how to use these tools, use them wisely, safely, and ethically. And at the same time, as you know, Andrew, the big bill almost had a provision that preempted states from having any regulation whatsoever about tools or about AI. So over the course of the last couple of years, we have taken it in our own hands. We've worked with Microsoft and OpenAI. Anthropic is a new partner. And we've said, let's figure out how to have a voice in all of this. And the teachers and paraprofessionals really want it. There's questions, there's concerns, you know, the question of, is it the GPS system or is it a driverless car? But we thought it was really important to actually offer training in a real way to virtually all of our members who want it, and we thought it was really important to do it place-based.
I'm gonna jump in right there, and I'm gonna qualify that. As I said, I repeated myself. I apologize. And here's what I'm gonna say: listen to the president of the AFT, okay, the American Federation's Teachers Union or whatever. I'm making that up to fill in the AFT, but it's not the ATF. It's not the the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms people. This is the president of the AFT. Did you hear what she said she is? She's hesitant. She's skeptical. She's kind of reluctant. She's pushing back, like, hold up. What's going on here? You hear all of that? Look on the screen. Let me increase this part of it. Look at that right there. They're doing a partnership with Anthropic. Anthropic is one of the AI companies. I'm going to play a clip from Anthropic, the CEO, Dario Amodei, but they have created Claude, C-L-A-U-D-E, Claude. Claude it's like Cursor. If you haven't heard of Cursor, Claude and Cursor, they do what's called coding assistant. In other words, that AI is built out to assist coders code. So that could assist people in learning how to code, breaking down and explaining every bit of the code, making suggestions, critiquing it. It's crazy. I mean, it does more than that, but that's their main stake. Anthropic is the coding assistant. And that's why I said in some other videos I did, if you've never coded before and you either want to become a coder or you just want to know about it enough so that you can understand and make a more sound or intelligent decision on what tools and resources to use, whether it be for your kids, your business, your church, where you work at, anything like that. Those coding assistants, Google has one, there's plenty of them out there, but Cursor and Claude, they're pretty cool. Cursor is another one, all right, but I'll get to that. But Anthropic is one of the companies, AI companies, that the AFT has a partnership with. Microsoft, we all know Microsoft. Like I said, that's led by the CEO right now is Satya Nadella. And it's an Indian name, so I may be pronouncing it wrong, but it's S-A-Y-T-A. That's why I say S-A-T-Y-A. Satya. Yeah. Nadella or Nandella. N-E-D. Yeah, N-A-D-E-L-L-A. It's something like that. I apologize. I get it wrong. But that's Microsoft. And you say, well, I didn't know Microsoft was into AI. Microsoft Copilot. Copilot is the AI tool, is the AI engine, is the AI brain with Microsoft. That's why you see it everywhere. You go to use Excel, you can use Copilot. You use Access, you can use Copilot. You do PowerPoint, you can use Copilot. Microsoft Word, you can use Copilot. That's what that is, okay? And then you have OpenAI. OpenAI is the company that owns that infamous ChatGPT that invited the globe into engaging and basically getting comfortable, getting a first seat view of what it was to engage and use AI as a chatbot. Generative pre-trained transformation. American Federation of Teachers Union has partnered with these three companies. Massive, $23 million. Look at what that says, that banner, that thing right there that I blew up. Bringing AI into K through 12. So that's kindergarten through years 12. What does it say? A $23 million initiative between Microsoft, Anthropic, OpenAI, and the American Federation of Teachers. Free AI training for 400,000 educators over 5 years. Free. Here's what I'm going to say to y'all. You guys that have school at home, that y'all do schooling at home. You guys that have daycare centers. You guys that have nonprofit organizations. You guys that have after school programs. You guys that have any type of programming, any type of business where you do or you allow some instruction, some tutoring, any of that, or you can incorporate it. You could get probably a grant doing that same thing. That's how you have to look at this. This is an opportunity for a lot of you guys that currently have a business. If you do homeschooling, this is an opportunity for you. If you have a church or a nonprofit organization where you have an after-school program or some type of daycare program, something like that, this is an opportunity for you. You might be saying, well, how are we going to get a piece of that grant? You don't worry about that grant. You don't worry about that partnership. You use that partnership and that grant and what has been established to write yours or to seek out something that looks similar to that. Look at what they're doing. 23 million free AI training for 400,000 educators for over 5 years. Guess what? You come up with AI training. Yeah, you learn the AI tools. You find out the likes of Anthropic, the Microsoft, and the OpenAI. And you offer that to those parents, to those students, to your organization, to your church, through your nonprofit, in your business. See, it's not what it is, it's how you look at it. They're laying it out. That's that opportunity. That's them. This is your business, though. This is your opportunity. That's why it sounds like I'm so harsh when I say to people, and I'm going to just put it bluntly, I don't care if they family members, I don't care if they friends, I don't care if they religious leaders, I don't care if they politicians, business people, or whatever. Stop listening to these ignorant ass people that you might love, you really care about, and they really care about you, that's walking around saying, oh, that AI, that's some bullshit. That shit ain't real. I don't pay that shit no mind, as they pull their phone out and exercise the AI tools. It's the dumbest shit I ever hear. I hear grown men walking around in Chicago saying this that I engage with. It's the most dumbest, ignorantest shit. Don't ignore these people. They're speaking from fear and ignorance. That's it. Fear and ignorance. Ignore that. Don't pay that shit no mind, or you'll be a fucking dinosaur listening to them. Anybody walking around telling you that, it's through fear or it's through ignorance. And they still care about you and they still love you. But I'm telling you what that is. They either don't understand it or they fear it. So they say, shit, I don't pay that shit no mind. I'm not going to learn none of that. I don't want to know nothing about no AI. That shit not even real. And right after they finish talking like a goddamn fool, you know them. You're related to some of them. I'm related to some of them. Right after they finish sounding like dumb as hell, stupid, brain dead, they say, Todd, can you show me how to install that thing you was using the other day? I thought you just told me this shit wasn't real. I thought you just said you don't fuck with AI. You just said it's a government thing. It's made up. That's why I say ignore them. Now back to this. If you have a home business, if you have homeschooling, if you got a church, it ain't got to be you. Tell your pastor, tell somebody, if they after school program, tell somebody. Y'all need to either write a grant up and submit it, or look for grants within your state, within your local jurisdiction, your state, federal, whatever, that's talking about AI literacy. That's all this is, if you really want to know. It's a little more than that. It's a bigger punch than that, because they're teaching teachers. They're giving them free AI training for the next 5 years, and they're offering it up to 400,000 teachers. Now, even though this $23 million initiative, and I think it's going to start out with a nice building being built in New York City somewhere for the world to see, and that, teachers will be able to go there and visit it and different things like that. Ultimately, this stuff is going to be done through portals, through websites. That's how it's going to be done. Ultimately, the support systems and the meetings and some of the tutorials are going to be using what you already know: whiteboards and blackboards, Zooms and Teams. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a bunch of virtual meetings. It's going to be a bunch of virtual boards. It's going to be all of that. You can set that up for your business. You can set that up for your organization. You can apply some of that umph. My homeboy Eddie Boo, right? Eddie, he out there helping people at some of these clinics. That's what he does for a living. He helps people at these clinics to overcome their drug history, their drug abuse, their substance abuse. That's what he does. My homeboy Eddie Boo, he could do a grant. He could talk to whoever there and say, look, man, I want to bring some AI. Why can't we offer some artificial intelligence literacy programs along with the substance abuse so that they can be AI aware? Because it's like I said it earlier, I think, not on this live, but on another one. I was talking about 3 musts because our brains are trained for 3, 5, 7s, and 10s. And I was saying 3 musts when it comes to AI for 2026. Because why? It's August the 1st. So everything I'm going to be saying moving forward, when I remind myself, I'm going to be saying it in light of 2026. Because tomorrow, it'll be January the 1st, 2026. I know you don't think so. It will be. Watch how fast it happens. And the reason why I'm going to format it and put it that way is because that's what I'm thinking about already next year. But what I'm saying about my homeboy Eddie, he could say to them, look, I want to write up a grant, or I want to seek out something that can offer AI literacy programs. Like back in the day, remember? Computer literacy. Back in the day, help you write your resume. Now, AI literacy. To give people what? Some awareness. That's why I was saying the 3 musts of AI for AI in 2026. I think one of them was AI literacy. Another was AI awareness, and another was AI adoption. Not necessarily in that order. In fact, if I had to order that again, put it in order, that 3, I would say AI awareness, AI literacy, and AI adoption in that order. Because first you become aware of it, and then you become literate about it, and then you might adopt the uses of the different tools and resources that are available. Because now we know the book's not rigged. We know that you're not already out there, and the teacher's not either. So all us at the starting line, we right here. Everybody get ready to go. Y'all ready, set, go. Everybody can start walking at the same time. Don't get fooled by all these degrees and how long somebody been teaching. They don't know about AI more than a lot of you guys. That's why I'm saying you're not so far behind the artificial intelligence game. You just think you are. Because it's dumb niggas in your family and your friends and you go to sleep with and wake up with, and at your church and at work that you ride in the car with. You got these stupid motherfuckers telling you AI not real, stay away from it. I don't pay that shit no mind. I say fuck that. And you got to sit there and echo them sentiments because you love these people. You care about them. You respect them. They influence you. They got your ear. They rent space in your head. I understand. I get all that. Yeah. I'm just telling you, stop it. Get up on this in your own way. If you find it, if you find it. But let me finish playing it. Let me finish playing it.
Once a summer with Microsoft and OpenAI, the last 2 summers, but there is a real need, and we thought it was really important to do it place-based. Okay. We have done it once a summer with Microsoft and OpenAI the last 2 summers, but there is a real need. Nobody's filling it, so we thought, let's work.
Tell us the position of the union on AI in terms of the following. There are some teachers I know that are afraid, maybe appropriately, maybe not, about how AI could effectively one day take their jobs. There's other people who are super excited about it and say, look, there's an opportunity here for every single student to have the equivalent of individualized tutoring, if you will, in a remarkable way. So, for example, do you believe that students should be able to, and teachers should allow, and the whole thing should work where you could record an entire class, if you will, create your own notes, out of those classes. Some people think that's a great idea because it could help the student. I know teachers who think that's going to do me out of a job.
So, number one, there are lots of things I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of AI doing teachers, K through 12 teachers out of jobs. We've already had these kind of situations where people have tried to replace the human being. I am concerned about issues like safety and privacy and making sure that we regulate deep fakes and also making sure that we deal with intellectual property. But what teachers are clamoring for, Andrew, is the tools so that they use AI wisely, safely, and ethically. And in the absence of other people doing that, we thought that the way it, but what teachers are clamoring for, Andrew, is the tools so that they use AI wisely, safely, and ethically. And in the absence of other people doing that, we thought that the way in which you deal with these fears is you actually have real training and you do it with the developers who have developed some of the products. Now, this is not everyone in this is not everybody in tech. We chose the people that we worked with, and frankly, we've been working with Microsoft as part of an AFL-CIO partnership for the last 3 years. So what teachers actually want is they want to be able to reduce paperwork. What teachers actually want is they want the creativity that AI can help with in terms of developing games. They want it for helping to develop lessons. But, I've been through, as I'm sure you have over the last 20 or so years, with technology attempting to replace intellectual capital and in teaching and learning. And we have to actually fight that. You need a human being in teaching. But the bottom line is, if you don't have the training, you don't know the questions to ask.
Well, so the interesting dynamic, though, that I just wonder about is, teachers.
Sorry.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you've in your show a couple of years ago, I came on with the first version of this guardrail that we've done, and we're trying to get governments to actually adhere to these kind of guardrails and do that kind of stuff. So we come to it as skeptical but hopeful.
The question I would ask is, teachers, as far as I can tell, often feel overwhelmed. They do. And they've got a lot of work to do, both in the classroom and then outside of the classroom. And whether it's, grading homework or talking to parents or all of the things. And this could be very, very helpful in that, in terms of cutting down on some of that time. The question, therefore, then becomes, though, when some principal or somebody else at a school says, well, look, you have now a lot more time than you had before. You used to have 5 classes. I want you to double up, or I want you to load you up with 6 classes a day, or whatever it is, and how you would treat that, Randy.
So, Andrew, having the difference between having some more time, say maybe it's half an hour a day, I've seen some studies of the potential for that, versus so that you can actually deepen your knowledge, you can actually have ongoing conversations with kids, you can have project-based instruction, you can do those kind of things. That's a good thing. To try to make teachers into an assembly line, that's a bad thing. And so ultimately, this is about trying to both enrich, do things, have the positives of AI, but also guard against the negatives.
Okay. Hey, Randy.
Microsoft, OpenAI, and...
Welcome back to Squawk. Microsoft, OpenAI, and Anthropic, they're all teaming up with
Microsoft.
respected.
That partner with the American Federation of Teachers, Anthropic. I said Anthropic has Claude. Microsoft has Copilot. OpenAI has ChatGPT. Now, while they're partnering with, he's one of the three companies, AI companies, that the American Federation of Teachers Union is partnering with, and they have this opportunity where they're going to provide free AI training for over 400,000 members of the AFT over the next 5 years. In this segment, he's talking with CNN about massive unemployment coming from AI. So take a listen to this. This is the founder and CEO of Anthropic.
A well-known and respected tech CEO, Dario Amodei, who heads a cutting-edge AI company called Anthropic, is raising alarms tonight about AI's potential impact on employment that could soon be felt. While he says AI can lead to incredible advancements like medical breakthroughs and boost the economy, he believes it could also lead to half of entry-level white-collar jobs disappearing and 10 to 20% unemployment in the next 1 to 5 years. It's something that's been talked about within tech circles for a while, but rarely so starkly and so publicly. I spoke to him just before air about that and other implications he thinks AI may have on society. Dario, you've said that AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment to 10 to 20%. How soon might that happen?
Well, let's, well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. But just to back up a little bit, I've been building AI for over a decade. And I think maybe the most salient feature of the technology and what is driving all of this is how fast the technology is getting better. A couple of years ago, you could say that AI models were maybe as good as a smart high school student. I would say that now they're as good as a smart college student and sort of reaching past that. I really worry, particularly at the entry level, that the AI models are very much at the center of what an entry level human worker would do. And so it's hard to estimate, exactly what the impact would be. And there's always this question of adaptation. And these technology changes have happened before, but I think what is striking to me about this AI boom is that it's bigger and it's broader and it's moving faster than anything has before. And so compared to previous technology changes, I'm a little bit more worried about the labor impact simply because it's happening so fast that yes, people will adapt, but they may not adapt fast enough. And so there may be an adjustment period.
You are running an incredibly important company in AI, and you know this better than anybody, or as well as all the names we know, people, Sam Altman and others who are working, Elon Musk and AI. Why are you raising the alarm? Because it's not necessarily, I would think, in your best interest, because a lot of the messages we hear from, at least publicly, from some AI CEOs and stuff is a little bit more calming, like, these agents are going to be great in your life, and yes, there may be problems, but, writ large, this is a fantastic thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason I'm raising the alarm is that I think others haven't as much, and I think someone needs to say it. To be clear, and I recognize it's always a difficult balance, right? I'm aware of my position that I'm building this technology while also expressing concerns about it, and the reason I'm doing both of those things is one, I think the benefits are massive, and we need to find a way to achieve the benefits and mitigate or prevent the harms. And the second thing I would say is, look, there are, as you mentioned, 6 or 7 companies in the U.S. building this technology, right? If we stop doing it tomorrow, the rest would continue. If all of us somehow stopped doing it tomorrow, then China would just beat us. And I don't think China winning in this technology is, I don't think that helps anyone or makes the situation any better.
I do want to read something that Sam Altman, your former boss at OpenAI, said in September. He was saying that AI can cause significant change in labor markets, good and bad. He went on to say that most jobs will change more slowly than most people think. And then he said this, and I want to just read it word for word. He said, many of the jobs we do today would have looked like trifling wastes of time to people a few hundred years ago. But nobody is looking back at the past wishing they were a lamplighter. If a lamplighter could see the world today, he would think the prosperity all around him was unimaginable. And if we could fast forward 100 years from today, the prosperity all around us would feel just as unimaginable. For younger people, I should say lamplighters was actually a job. People went around lighting lamps on the streets. I think a lot of people may not even know what a lamplighter is. But do you think Sam Altman is wrong?
Yeah, so, I think there are some things I agree with about that, and then there are some things that I think are too optimistic. So, I definitely agree that, AI, if we succeed at it, can grow the pie great today as a macroscopic phenomenon, right? That AI allows society as a whole to be more productive. So let
me just say, because you've previously in the past said you've described a future where cancer is cured, the economy grows at 10% a year, the budget is balanced, and 20% of people don't have jobs.
That's exactly what I was getting to, right? Where I agree with all the positive potential. I think that isn't wrong. But I think the quote you just flashed is maybe too optimistic, maybe too sanguine about the ability for people to adapt. People have adapted to past technological changes, but I'll say again, everyone I've talked to has said this technological change looks different. It looks faster. It looks harder to adapt to. It's broader. The pace of progress keeps catching people off guard. And so I don't know exactly how fast the job concerns are going to come. I don't know how fast people are going to adapt. It's possible it'll all be okay, but I think that's too sanguine an approach. I think we do need to be raising the alarm. I think we do need to be concerned about it. I think policymakers do need to worry about it. If they do worry and they do act, then maybe we can prevent it. But we're not going to prevent it just by saying everything's going to be okay.
Do we as a society even understand the potential inequalities that this may amplify? And also the impact just on I have little kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. What do they grow up aspiring to if machines can do pretty much everything better? What does it do to initiative or drive or striving? And I don't know the answer to that, yes, but it concerns me.
Let's take those questions one by one. Those do concern me, but I do have thoughts on them. In terms of inequality, I'm worried about this. There's an inherent social contract in democracy where ultimately, the ordinary person has a certain amount of leverage because they're contributing to the economy. If that leverage goes away, then it's hard to make democracy. It's harder to make democracies work, and it's harder to prevent concentration of power. And so, we need to make sure that the ordinary person maintains economic leverage and has a way to make a living, or our society, our social contract won't work. And that's why I think it's important.
During testing, your company's latest chatbot, Claude 4, was capable of what was described as extreme blackmail. Specifically, I understand it threatened to reveal.
So, all of these chatbots and AI things, they have an ugly side, because it's impossible, I think, for something to have a good side without having the ugly side. So as we traverse through the path or the roadway of AI, those are the things that are going to pop out and poke their head out, and they need to be dealt with. They have to be addressed by the engineers, by the programmers, by the coders, by society. But the benefits, it's already out. AI is not going back in. Nobody can lock it back up in the closet. It's here. It's off and running. Like I said, Dario Amodei, he's the president, he's the co-founder he's the CEO of Anthropic. And he has a very pessimistic outlook on unemployment. And you're starting to see it now. I don't care what they're saying the reason is. These tech giants are laying thousands of people off. So when the question comes up, what do I send my kids to school for? Like, what do they aspire to be? What area is safe? What can they be excited about? That's a real question. It just is.